your head who were assigned to that committee when it was formed?
Morgan Graham, Bob Burr, and then Vitas.
3 people. Well, the meeting that they just had lasted about 5 minutes. It was Bob and Morgan, and it was just like quick. And there was a legislative platform that just didn't get out of a committee, but it just somehow arose out of that committee, and they approved it. So, like,
I think there was an hour this afternoon of public testimony.
And yeah, the 4 items that all got testified on didn't get legislative priority.
And then the committees, the subcommittees submitted in their information from their subcommittees, their priorities.
How are we going to go before this body and say constitutional carry is not a priority when it was the only priority last session? How are we going to do that?
And then you can also testify tomorrow. You can still
I also have a question. The dismemberment legislative priority
Was voted down.
Not come out of the Strengthening Family subcommittee, and it came out of nowhere in this subcommittee here.
that's up to that subcommittee. That's up to that committee.
Right. So that
So
subcommittee.
who was submitting resolutions? Who was submitting legislative priorities to them?
No, that committee itself submits the priorities that move up to us.
so, but his point is that there was a resolution that didn't get out of a committee, the dismemberment. The legislative priority did not get out of committee.
2 resolutions in the Strengthening Families. One was a dismemberment abortion ban. One was a full abolition ban. The dismemberment got voted down. There was a motion to present it to the General Committee, and it got voted down. And then it got voted up for the abolition ban, like all abortion.
So how did the legislative priority committee have the ability to bring it back after it was defeated in the other committee?
I'll have to check with that committee chair. I'll have
The
to
only
check.
thing
Let me check.
I would think is that they may have received any legislative priorities that had ever been submitted, and that they ruled on it on themselves.
Let me check.
Are you concerned that the legitimacy of that committee is going to be challenged? I mean, you had 3 people on it, and they met for 5 minutes, and the way that some committee members found out about this committee meeting was a delegate went in there and said, "Hey, committee member, did you know about this other committee meeting?" "No, I had no idea." I mean, do you think the legitimacy of the committee itself is going to be challenged tomorrow?
So
Let
we
me
brought
check.
in the convention parliamentarian that we did. We didn't have anything to do with it. It's a subcommittee forming a subcommittee. It's completely legitimate. They can have
Which subcommittee created the subcommittee?
this one right here, and they can have that's DeVita's, and they can have both members from that committee and other members. So it can be anyone. It's made up of 3 people, and that's what they
If
chose.
we can't see how wrong this is, I mean, it went against this entire grassroots movement that was here working. This didn't come from the grassroots. This came from...
No, we understand, and it's completely separate from it happened in there, and
You've got a 2-sided frustration here. One
No,
is
I understand,
procedural,
yeah.
and then the other one is many man-hours, much personal sacrifice to get constitutional carry on the platform, and to have a committee of 3 people remove a platform,
Well,
legislative priority.
I haven't even gotten their report yet, so let's see what they have.
Are you going to get that tonight?
We're supposed to. They haven't submitted in any of their reports.
I've
yet,
requested
so
a
we're still
written
going to check.
report, a copy of that report.
Everybody's going to get that report at 8 a.m. We're still going to put it together. She's still receiving them. Some subcommittees haven't even adjourned.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's.
So they did receive the resolutions that they voted on, or the priorities they voted on from the subcommittees.
We haven't even seen the subcommittee report.
But if the subcommittees haven't finished, like, what are they waiting on?
No, they had to have all of the legislative priorities in by 11 o'clock yesterday morning.
Right,
Exactly.
And
So
they
they are
stated in
getting
there,
things from
were there any more received other than these 6? And not that I'm aware of, well, that's nonsense, because the 4 that every single person here was working on absolutely got presented to them.
Yeah, and there's testimony. So let me go check on this, and then I'll give you guys an update in the morning when we open up for the general meeting.
Thank you for that.
Because we're still getting the information.
There's a little discrepancy on who created the committee. They said that you appointed the members.
The subcommittee
But they said
together.
that you did. And that's not correct.
The
Why would they say
subcommittee
that?
created that because I'm the chair. So
What
it's
subcommittee created that?
our subcommittee for each subcommittee. That's the subcommittee, and we created that subcommittee.
I'm really confused.
Subcommittee chairs?
So
Or
it's-
a subcommittee?
Yeah.
Subcommittee.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Again, it wasn't created by the full committee. So
Let
that's
me
not
go
an
back
exercise.
and check, and then
Yeah,
I'll get some.
how was the
We'll get.
subcommittee created?
The subcommittee
get together.
is made up of the chairs and the sub.
Well, I
Let me
get
go.
that, but
We
how
have to
did
finish
that
some
get
work
created?
with some of our committees, so I'll
Can you
explain.
tell me-
I'll break it down and
I
explain to you guys
appreciate
in the
that.
morning.
If the committees were given a deadline of 11 a.m. to submit everything, that sort of implies that that's the only source of what the Legislative Priority Committee has
And
to
the
work with. Can you-
testimony also.
So the only sources of input they were to take
And this is
were
just
the
a
testimony
recommendation.
and the other committees. Is that right? The only two sources
Let
of
me
input.
check with that. Let me check with that committee though on what their process was,
Thanks a lot.
because I
Have a
need.
deadline, I need to.
Yeah, I need to check.